If you are a designer, you just can't use things. You read them, analyze them, the materials, the resistance, the shape, size, bend, and every small detail. That's what I call looking at the world like a designer. Every detail is a decision, and every decision can also be a trade-off. Logitech sent me this mouse a while back. Yes, this is the mighty MX Master 4. Many people call this the perfect mouse ever produced. But is it? This is one of those products that's not just a shape or buttons. It's a whole system of tiny design decisions working together. MX Master 4 is built for people like you and I who live inside softwares. You know, designers, editors, 3D artists. People who do long, complex, multi-step work. So Logitech perhaps send this to me so that I can share my thoughts and review. Honestly, today I'm not going to look at this like a mouse because the more I look at it like a designer, the more this feels like a design case study that Logitech designed as a productivity system where hardware and software are one thing. So instead of just reviewing it, I'm going to decode it, every detail and decision that might have gone into designing this mouse, and then check how it solves a designer's struggles. Alright, problem number 1. How do you design for someone who's going to hold this thing for 8, 10 or 12 hours straight without causing repetitive strain injury? Let's start with the obvious part, the shape. This exists so you can work for hours without thinking about the mouse. This isn't designed to feel light. If you look at it, it's actually bigger than an average mouse. But that's an intentional choice because it is designed to feel anchored to you. Most mice force your hand into what we call as pronation. Your palm faces down, your wrist rotates unnaturally, and if you do it for long hours, it will lead to a condition called carpal tunnel. Do look it up on Google. Repetitive strain injuries account for over 30% of workplace injuries for desk workers. We are literally designing people into pain. 27-degree tilt, sculpted thumb rest that carries about 30% of your grip pressure. Now, if you're only using a mouse for 5 or 10 minutes a day, none of these details are really going to matter. Almost any mouse you feel will feel right in your hands and it'll adapt without complaining. But the moment your usage stretches into hours, that's when you start noticing the difference. Because at that point, it is not about comfort in the first few minutes. It's about how much micro fatigue builds up from thousands of tiny movements, grips, and wrist adjustments. Everything here is designed to reduce that invisible drain so long sessions feel like effortless, not like your hand has been doing overtime. I've remapped half of my keyboard shortcuts, so obviously the mouse needs to be customizable as well. But here's the trap. If you add too many buttons and this becomes a gaming mouse, 17 buttons, RGB lights, completely wrong aesthetics. It becomes an airplane cockpit and not a mouse. Logitech's solution is they have 4 customizable buttons all on the left side so that you can operate with your thumb. And every button is customizable. Everything is remappable through their Logi Options Plus software, which is good. And here's the smart part. You can set different functions per application. In Figma, I can set these side buttons to copy and paste. In Photoshop, it could be undo, redo. In Art Browser, they switch between different workspaces. The mouse knows which app is active and changes the function automatically. Now here's where it gets interesting. Pressing this thumb panel button opens an action ring, which is essentially a small menu with a host of other controls. And you can set different action rings per application as well. This is context-aware design. The same button does different things based on what I'm doing. One thing I've noticed about the way I work is that I don't spend most of my time clicking buttons. I spend it moving, bouncing across screens, switching windows, and jumping between apps. And on a Mac, that movement is usually powered by gestures. Apple's trackpad gestures are honestly the fastest way to navigate, but they are locked to the trackpad by default. So I remap my setup to match my workflow. I move the action ring from the thumb pad to this button here at the top because that's a cleaner and more deliberate control for me. Then I configure the thumb pad press to trigger Mac style gestures, the same ones you'd normally need a trackpad for. So now I get the speed of a trackpad navigation while still staying on a mouse. But what makes the real difference is the haptic feedback. It provides subtle, customizable vibrations while the thumb rests to give a tactile confirmation for specific actions. You don't need to see more changes, you can just feel them. When the wheel switches modes, your finger feels. The steps appear. When something locks, you feel a soft, precise stop. When a menu opens, there is a tiny confirmation click. That sounds small, but over thousands of interactions a day, it changes everything. Your eyes stay on your work, your brain stays on the flow, but your hand gets those quite reliable signals. Problem number 3, precision versus speed. As designers, sometimes you're moving 1 pixel, and sometimes you're flying across a giant timeline. MX Master 4 solves this with the wheel. It has 2 modes: click by click for precision and free spin when you want to move fast. And the clever part is, even in the precision mode, if you flick it hard, it temporarily unlocks and just goes free spin. That's invisible design. You feel it before you think it. It also has a second side wheel here for horizontal timelines like After Effects and Premiere Pro, because that's how you actually work. Now, I've noticed another interesting pattern in my workflow. Even inside Figma, I don't use the mouse in the same way when I'm designing versus when I'm reviewing someone else's work. When I'm designing, I map the side wheel to horizontal scroll. It lets me move across the wide artboard quickly without constantly dragging the canvas around. But when I'm reviewing someone else's work, I switch that same wheel to zoom in and zoom out. That way, with just one hand on the mouse, I can fly through the entire file, zoom into an artboard, and then zoom out for a bird's eye view and keep moving without breaking the flow. All these without having to hold any button on the keyboard. Problem number 4, modern designers don't work on one device. I've got 2 MacBooks, one for Swiggy work and the other one for personal stuff like content and all. There's also an iPad for calls and reviews, and at times even a Windows laptop if I'm reviewing one. So the mouse should be that one universal mouse that connects to everything. My first instinct was that the mouse should work the same way. Pair it into 2, 3, or even 4 devices simultaneously so you never have to switch at all. Now, Logitech's approach is simpler. A 3-device setup. Pair 3 devices and use the buttons at the bottom to jump between them. Not bad. But here's a hidden feature most people miss. It shares the clipboard across devices. So I can copy and work on my Mac, switch to my iPad and paste it there. Now, well, that's not a mouse feature as such, but it's an ecosystem feature that Apple offers, and Logitech builds software-level integration to enable that. So what did we actually do here today? We didn't quite review a mouse. We read it. We analyzed the shape, the wheel, the buttons, clicks, action rings, the software, and everything else. We analyzed what every little decision is trying to say, because every design thing is a collection of opinions about what should be easy and what should be hidden. And once you start looking at objects that way, you can't stop. Now finally, let's come to the real review of the Logitech MX Master 4. Is it worth it? For designers, video editors, 3D artists, people who essentially live inside creative softwares 8 hours a day? Absolutely. This mouse is for people who think about their tools, people who notice the difference between good design and great design, people who care. Actually, remember when I said earlier that the shape of the mouse is great? I wasn't completely right either. I have a left-handed designer friend, and he mentioned how difficult it was for him to use a mouse like the MX Master. And he is right. The entire shape, the button placement and all is sculpted for right-handed use. Now, could Logitech make a left-handed version of this? Absolutely. They could just mirror the design and move the buttons on the other side. Or they could just design an ambidextrous version of the mouse, more symmetrical buttons, accessible from either side and so on. That's the reality of opinionated design. You gain depth by narrowing focus, but you also exclude people. Now, this is not a fatal flaw. It's a design decision with trade-offs. Worth acknowledging though. Now, Logitech didn't just send me a mouse to review, they gave me a case study. 4 problems, 4 solutions, dozens of micro decisions that add up to a cohesive product. Next time you design something, an app, a website, a feature, a workflow, steal this process. Don't start with solutions, start with problems. Break it down, sketch multiple approaches, evaluate your decisions honestly. That's how good design happens. And yes, full disclosure, one more time, Logitech sponsored this video, but every word is mine. Every critique is real. If you want to check out the MX Master 4, I'll put a link in the description. You can check it out from there. Now go and design something great.